bishop g7 and neutralizes the
yeah.
bishop totally.
Just go.
Just to play for the safe knight.
Boom, boom. That's no
chance for you to make anything, my friend. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but also ideas like e5 and pushing f5 and simply advancing your pawns to victory.
Yeah. This looks quite promising for him. He should be able to win.
Okay.
We'll keep an eye on it, and let's see if. Well, we're still playing.
King c4.
Let's go back to that was Sarah Pettersson against the 13-year-old Björn Birkesson. Moving back to the Masters, which hopefully someday Björn Birkesson will be playing here.
I'm sure he will.
Sure he will. Maybe both of them. So we will have Birkesson against Thorfinnsson. On 2 boards, that's possible. Twins against the brothers.
Maybe Gretarsson's watching.
Yeah, we could have Gretarson, Birkesson, Thorfinnsson.
That might be too much for audience.
Yeah. So bishop b6, c5, bishop d8. Yeah, better than bishop c7 that I had earlier, because of course you need to save a tempo. But either way, it seems like it doesn't matter. He took king c4, king g6, king d5, and not just a5, c6, and seems to me like white can just safely resign here, but they're still playing. Once he moves the king forward, I mean it's not even his move, so let's say king f6. If you move forward, you just move the pawn, and then we just give up the bishop for the pawn. The bishop has a long enough diagonal not to be harassed by the king. So this is rather simple. So it seems like Bragi is just cooling off by playing some moves. This more or less ends his chances of winning the tournament. Also, he had an outside chance of a GM norm, but now they are no more. And Bragi, yeah, he resigned the game. So now Guðmundur Kjartansson moves into a 1-point lead with 2 rounds remaining, chased by no less than 3 players. 1 point behind him. 3 players on 4.5. Gummi with 5.5. And Gummi has some tough games coming up against Stefansson and Hjörvar Gretarsson. I just want to see which game is tomorrow. Tomorrow is Gummi White against Hannes Hlífar Stefansson. So I thought Hannes was white because he was black today, but apparently Hannes will be black again. And then in the final round, Hjörvar is white against Gummi as well. And they also played recently in a local tournament. Hjörvar had white there and won, but we'll see. The final game of this round is Hjörvar against Helgi. The battle of the Gretarsons. The Gretarson battle. Men bra. Rook b8, yeah, d4 was indeed played. Bishop c4, knight d5. This before, and as I mentioned, we can't really take on d5 because if we take on d5 and take on b4, the ending looks rather lost for us. Gretarsson, Hjörvar, Gretarsson, Helgi. Put it on board. Mark it up. 1 man. In the criminal jury. Just 55. Rook c8. So we mentioned already that taking maybe pawn takes b4, the f pawn is too dangerous. So therefore in this position here I went with rook to c8, knight e3, banking on the f pawn. Rook takes c6. So white gets one pawn back, but here goes the f pawn. White tries to block it. Rook into d5. Rook c5. Trying to force the exchange of rooks, which black accepts. Now white might be starting to get some drawing chances because he has a pawn of his own that black has to worry about. And while he's worrying about this pawn, maybe we can activate our king. King d6. Bishop e4. Yeah, here my first thought here would have been to actually activate the king, but maybe he's thinking about some fancy tempos here, or that black can't really improve his position. Let's say we go for something like here. We want to just advance the pawn. I have a feeling now we can improve the king. And note that has no time for king moves because c7. So let's say knight h2, king d3. Looks like we're just gonna get to the pawn. Can we even take on f3 now? F3 knight takes. Yeah, we can even take now knight. Then we get the pawn. So looks like Hjörvar should be able to save a draw here. I don't see anything after bishop e4 immediately dangerous. Okay, let's see. Maybe move the knight to e5. Does that make a difference? Because at least now we're blocking off all the squares, the pawns like this. Knight on this one. So now the king can't approach. And so now the question is, if we go for the f pawn, does it take too much time? The answer is yes. And now black wins. Yeah, so knight e5 is much stronger than knight h2. We played knight e4. Oh my. So maybe it was a mistake to allow knight g4. Just play king c1. Look more natural. Get the king closer to the battlefield. You just want to be ready to play king c4 or king e4. So bishop e4 possibly a losing blunder. And these moves are on the board. King c2, knight e5. So let's say king d2, knight takes c6. So it's clear we can't take this, but can we now? Let's say king here. If king c5 takes, king e4, king e4 takes. Still he's in time here. He's still in time. But let's say instead we don't think it's this one. No. The idea here is to go king e4. So either knight d4 or knight e5, I'm not sure. Let's go knight d4, king e4. f3, king e3. Now the knight can't move. And once we take here, it's well, yeah, okay. But I think we're in time now to stop the pawn. And the king is here, so I don't think there's any way to block the diagonal. So we have king d2. did take on c6, and white is thinking. So it's clear he can't take on c6. The pawn ending is lost. King e2, king e5, and the king simply walks to the b pawn, and we have no problems with opposition. Yeah, anytime you get the king on the 6th or the 3rd rank, then you're just winning. So instead, king d2, knight takes c6. He played king d3. Yeah, like everything according to plan. This is the only chance. So this is the only game remaining in the Masters. We still have some games in the Challengers. They're 1 hour behind actually. We started 1 hour after the other, and yeah, that's looking like Björn Holm might actually win here. Let's look at the top game, since we so let's give Hjörvar a rest here. He will try to hold on, but we'll come back to that one. So we're gonna go to, before we go back to the youngster Björn Holm, we're gonna look at the top game, which we left after 2696. Here, like I predicted, he wants to keep the bishop, c5, and it looks to me like the game is heading towards a draw. Knight takes c5, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, mass exchanges, pawn to b6, bishop to e3, b5, takes and rook takes, rook c2, e5, knight h5, knight e7. So we're going for an endgame here, and doesn't look like much, especially after this. Now white has the better minor piece, but on the other hand, maybe a bigger weakness. Having said that, it's hard to attack it. a5, bishop d2. Now white is black is forced to take on b3. Excuse me. Bishop takes, knight d6. So all the winning, I think all the winning chances here lie with black because of the knight. The knight is a tricky piece. Here they reach the time control. Magnus has 25 minutes, David 20. Maybe, probably they don't have half an hour at it. Maybe they only have 50 minutes at it after move 40. That actually makes sense. So where do the winning chances lie? You can try and make a passed e-pawn. You can try to put the rook on the 7th, or in this case the 2nd. It's always called the rook on the 7th. And then try to maneuver the knight. You can play f4, knight f5 to e3 or h4. Try and attack this guy, but if you do that, you lose a lot of flexibility with your pawns. So I have a feeling he'd rather try to play e4 at some point. Get a passed pawn. But I don't fancy any big winning chances. So let's go back to knight d3, move 35. We did play rook a2 check. This is again International Master Bjarnason against the young Björn Holm Birkisson. We should mention that he has only about 3 minutes left. Rook a2 check, king f3, rook c2 covering this pawn,
Knight c3.
bishop e2,
That's completely winning.
bishop e3, bishop e5, f2 check, king g3. We're nearing the current position. Knight c6, attacking the bishop. Bishop goes to d6. And now knight to c3 is actually completely winning if you can find it. He has 2 minutes left. A point about knight c3, you attack this guy, and also you want to go to e4 when you have a double attack on the bishop and the king. And more importantly, once you go to c3 to attack the rook cannot protect the bishop. So knight c3 is a winning move that would more or less force resignation. So 2 minutes left for young Björn Holm Birkesson to find knight c3. Can he do it? One man, one desire. Any advice for a new chess player? That's almost too broad a question. I didn't find knight c3. He went knight to d4. Unfortunately. The good news is he's still winning. The bad news is he's not as winning as he was before. So now the question is, if bishop takes c5, what is black's idea? Might be a little bit tricky here. Knight d4. Okay, yeah, the good thing is he at least got extra 50 minutes now to think about things. And now immediately knight takes c5. Maybe bishop takes c5 was a more trickier move. But there's rook f3 maybe there, yeah. Fair enough, and he went knight takes c5. And knight c3 again is promising. Captain, what advice do we have for a new chess player?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's too broad a question, really.
It's even though he's winning, it's a difficult position to be in. Playing an IM and
Yeah,
close to beating one for the first time. Goes to your head, probably.
probably very nervous
Yeah.
right now. So understandably, with 3 minutes left, he didn't find the best move.
Well,
Yeah, but in general, for a new chess player, if you're asking about that, just play a lot and watch videos, get a nice book, find a nice book, find some forums to talk about players. I'll talk with other players and get some advice.
you may have played that.
And you might want to join something like chess.com or something. Find a good community. Was there a blunder or something?
Yeah.
No. Maybe he played too quickly. Yeah, he just got 15 minutes, so he immediately made the move here with only.
He's probably following a plan he had in mind with 94.
Yeah, I have spent on only 90. Maybe he's trying too hard to exchange pieces.
Yeah, that might be it.
So that's typically what happens. You try to simplify things. Understandably, he's really nervous. Bishop takes e2, rook takes e2, and now
Which one draws?
rook b8, maybe king h7, bishop e5, threatening mate. Bishop f2 check, king f3. Is that the one? Oh, no. Yeah, now all of a sudden, slightly tricky. It didn't take on e2 yet, so is he thinking about taking on c5?
That's possible.
Rook takes e2. And now if you want to be extra safe, you can always play f6 and you're not getting mated, so why not play g5, but then you can at least play e5. But now White might be able to have some drawing chances. So we'll keep an eye on this. Maybe there's something interesting. Helgi down to 27 seconds already? Yeah. So let's go back to the Gretarsson battle here. Here are with the white pieces after move 66. We had king c5, he didn't want to allow king c4, of course. Bishop h7, well that's what I had, and knight e7. Okay, that we did not consider. King e4, knight d5. Of course the trick is if bishop g8, you're losing your bishop, so therefore here I played bishop to g6. Now he's threatening bishop f7, and simply winning the f4 pawn. And I think we should be moving closer to a draw. He played f3. Hang on a minute. If we take it, he goes here. I mean, surely this is drawn. Surely this is drawn. Give me a break. Surely this is drawn. Just can't believe that we just bring our king that we can't close this diagonal. Just can't be. I might be wrong. We'll see. King d4, knight d5. Evaluate. Yeah, it's a draw. Of course I'm right. Of course I'm bloody right.
Always right.
Always right.
Who can stand it?
So bishop f7. Yeah, just look this position up, and any position where you have only 6 pieces remaining on the board. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can actually look up, and it's been solved, calculated any possible outcome, and so you can look up what the result is, and it's a draw here.
They don't make it for the first 2 pieces.
Yeah. So they made it for 6. Hopefully they will not make it to 36. But exponentially, you know, you add 1, it's just like that. 6 is like 1 maybe big DVD, but if you go to 7, it's like, and then 8, you need like
I think it's what 9 DVDs for all the
9 DVDs for the 6.
6 and
Okay.
and going down.
Yeah, then of course it goes exponentially up.
Yeah.
Chess will never be solved in our lifetime. So bishop f7, we switch the turn, black to move, still a draw. Of course, I mean nothing has changed really. So now we know that the correct position is a result, but well, there shouldn't be any real problems. You just keep the bishop eventually on the diagonal. Bishop f7 makes a lot of sense because now you can't go to the pawn, you take the knight. So black has to maneuver the knight, let's say a knight here, then play the king. Then he maneuvers the knight to c5, takes on b3. But I think it's sufficient for white to keep the bishop on this diagonal here. Keep it here, and let's just walk the king. And I don't see how black actually blocks the diagonal. Yeah, so this should be a clear draw. Also, black doesn't have any real time on his clock to figure out any, you know, crazy traps. So, yeah. So if Hjörvar loses this game, then I think, you know, I have a message for him. my mind? Katha, what do you think?
About
If you ever loses, this is my message to him.
I'm not sure he will be happy, but
Okay.
have a good laugh.
Probably I need to sleep now. Yeah. Okay, let's see. 73, King D1, King B2, King D2, Knight C6, Knight can jump D4 on D5. We'll win the pawn, but Bishop G8, Knight D4. You know, whatever, really, nothing has changed. Knight takes B3. And even King E3 draws here. The problem now is, okay, white to move. The problem now is Knight D4. Yeah, Bishop F7 he took. I mean, you have to block this diagonal just to advance the pawn to B3. So King D1, Knight C3, King C3. I just don't see how you do it. Yeah, and the main problem is, of course, that if you go here, Knight D2, let's say King C1, and now you block. Now just take it off. You can't advance the pawn, and yeah, it's a draw. Just get the opposition. We can even mess it up. We can even mess it up. It doesn't matter which we choose here. Unless I'm completely losing my mind.
Am I losing my mind?
So, this game should be over rather quickly. So let's K77, King C3, Bishop G8. Yeah, it's a current position. No use in trying really. So actually, the most exciting game of the round is in the challengers. Then, do we have any Magnus Tatesson? Is there anything happening? Might be something happening. No, sorry, that's Hannes Stefansson. We have this move. This is Tatesson Kjartansson. So let's remove the graphics. So this is Tatesson and Kjartansson from the challengers or candidates. Rook C1. Knight B5. He wants to bring the knight closer to the action. Rook on the 7th. F4, E4. Pass pawn. Pass pawns must be pushed. Bishop H4, Knight D4. Bishop F2 and Knight E2 check. Wait a minute. Doesn't that just win a pawn? Doesn't that just win a pawn? So somewhere white went wrong here. Yeah, maybe the whole plan with F4. Why allow a passed E pawn and also restrict your own pawn on a black square? Keep your pawns on light squares. It's a common misconception, especially when you're defending. You have a bishop, you've done the exchange, you have a bishop against a rook, and you put your pawns on the same color as your bishop. That's actually usually worse. You have to put them on the opposite color. Hello there. Hello. How are you? So what do we have? Yeah, okay. And bishop f2, 92, king f1, knight takes f4. So now black managed to win a pawn, but still that might not be enough. Might not be enough, but at least there are some chances now for black. And this game is tremendously important for David Kjartansson, because if he fails to win, then he remains a full point behind the leaders. Well, the leader, Magnus Teitsson. But if he wins, he manages to catch up, having lost earlier against Sigfusion. I want to thank Finnbjörn Wang for his message. Very appreciated. So rook a1. So black will try to. I mean, it will take a while still. So I'm actually more interested in how the youngster is doing. So let's jump over to that game where we left off after what? 92 check. Bishop takes e2. Move 42. He took with the rook. Rook b8 check. King h7. Knight b7. Trying to construct some kind of swindle here. Bishop d4. Okay, I mean, yeah, once you control this diagonal, the worst is over. You're not going to get into any hairy situations. So now black is up a pawn, but could be really difficult to convert the pawn. Maybe some small chances. Maybe king is bad for white. Also e5 f5 maybe at some point. But like you mentioned before, most likely he's rather nervous. 13-year-old. Around that, I'm not even entirely sure. And this will be the first time that he gets a result against a titled player, so understandably he's quite nervous. So Cyber is thinking. Cyber has 21 minutes. Björn has 8 minutes left. Okay, let's actually go back to Teitsson game where played rook a1. I wonder a lot. Can we take? Yeah, that's a bit. Can we take on g2? I'm not sure. There's always bishop d4 probably doesn't work. Also, we have to calculate a bunch of checks, but I was thinking here e3. And the point is, okay, if white lost this, then surely it's completely lost. So, what about this one? Most likely, I was going to take with the rook actually, force the matters. Doesn't matter. So probably this is not enough. King takes f2. It's black to move. You have a feeling it's not enough to win. Again, we're gonna cheat. But this is something black has to think about. So king takes f2, black to move, and black wins. Okay, f4. King f3, king f5. Yeah, we can't push h4. If we push h4, then h5. Then we can win the h pawn, and then that's not a problem. Probably we can do it anyway. Yeah, then we just take the h pawn. So this is winning. So can white do anything after knight takes g2? It didn't go for it. Missing some trick here. Might be missing something, but can't see it. Okay. Anyway, he goes back to d5. Bishop jump to d4, although only the knights jump. And rook a6 check. King f7. Time situation is similar. They both have about 15 minutes left. King f7. Somehow Helgi and Hero are still playing 99 moves.
Why are they still playing?
Why are they still playing? That's a good question.
Yes.
I know, to reach 100 moves. So this will be the second 100 move game for Hjörvar in the tournament. Didn't he reach 100 moves against any healthy?
Probably, yeah.
That's probably quite rare to play 200 move games. But okay, Helgi managed to build up 7 minutes from nothing, so but that doesn't matter. I mean, you can give him 2 hours, there's no win to be found. I mean, the only way to make progress is to block the b pawn path, put the knight on c4, but then we just chop it off and we have the opposition, so I don't understand what he's even trying. Kjartan, can you see anything? I was looking at this position. I don't want to. I was thinking about knight takes c2.
Okay.
And king takes, I'm going to play e3.
Yeah.
And if rook anywhere can take an f4, I mean this must be winning.
Yeah. Must be.
And if rook f1, okay, I'm going to take with the rook, but it doesn't matter. I'll take with the rook first, so it's more forced.
Yeah.
And then this is actually winning.
That's, yeah.
So I don't see anything after knight takes d2 to, I mean bishop d4, you just move the rook.
Yeah.
Is there something he actually... I'm just thinking if I missed something obvious. Well, of course it's not obvious if we...
No.
I mean there's always e3, we can give some checks, but that shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
King to
Looks like Magnus may be losing his first game.
yeah, but he did play knight d5, he didn't play this. Still,
okay.
But still he's up a pawn.
Okay.
Is it over? Okay. So the young Björn Holm. Okay, before we go back to this game in the candidates, bishop to d4. We go back to Sævar and Björn Holm Birkisson. g5 was played by white. Rook e3 check. King g2, rook e2, king g3, rook e3, king g2. So black repeated moves here off the pawn. And okay, of course, objectively black can play on, he's off a pawn. But also let's put ourselves in his shoes. He's 13 years old. He has never drawn or beaten a titled player, and here he has the option of getting that result, and usually that result is very important for you, for your confidence and for further progression in your chess career. Usually it gives you a tremendous amount of confidence, and you want to have the result. You don't want to blunder it and think about it later. So now he has the result, and next time I'm sure that he will try to go for the win, having the result already in the bag. I'm gonna sneeze. Well, I'm not. Okay, I thought I was gonna sneeze. But yeah, like I said, understandable decision. A young player playing a title player, so of course he wanted the result. Very interesting. So yeah, let's go back to the remaining game in candidates, where after rook a1 we had 95, bishop e42, rook a6, king f7. That's the current position. Gretarsson against Gretarsson, for the weirdest reason ever, they're on move 114. 114. The 50 move rule will be applied on move 126. So Hero needs to, well, play 12 moves, but it doesn't really matter. So I need games. Other games left. Okay. So much surprising result there. Sigfusson is still playing against Thoraldsson. Seems to have an advantage. Sigfusion. But Teitsson, we were looking at Teitsson against Kjartansson. We had rook a7 check. King e6. Okay, just repeating to gain time, or he wants to go the other way. Bishop c5, king c7, rook h6. What's going on now? Black seems to have lost some of his advantage because he has to give up the h pawn. This could prove quite costly. And actually, while I'm just going to run into the playing hall, while I do that, I will leave the live game on. So I'm going to set it up for you. While we do that, I have to do this. And we're actually gonna. I just want to see the remaining. So I'm gonna put up this current game, live games. 7 challengers. What's going on?
I think he's still trying.
What is he trying? I don't understand at all. At all. Is Hero disgusted?
Yes. Yes. He actually started laughing at the table.
No. Yeah.
Oh, he almost pulled a LeBron. Shake his head.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna put this game up here. There you go. I'll go for a quick stroll in the playing hall. Be back in a few minutes. Turn on the mic. 53, rook h6. Winning the f7. Oh, he's winning the h7 pawn. Pawn to f4. Rook takes h7. King c6. Pawns are equal. Bishop f2. Rook d1 check. I still think black missed a clear win with knight takes g2 earlier. Rook g7. Well, the pawns are equal, but black has the more distant passed pawns, plus the knight can be a tricky piece. So g7, black to move here. Knight e3 looks like the most obvious move to play here. Zeg fusion með einhverju snill? Það er ekki F1, það er F1. Býtum við 3.37. Var þetta C7 blundir? Queen F1 winning. Yeah, let's just real quick look at that. See all games. I'm going to Sigurður Sig Fusion. Sig Fusion.
Stokkar sko með vinning fyrir Kjartanus.
He just played knight c7 and now queen f1.
Yes.
And now it says +3 for white. White doesn't do that. He simply wants to move this queen to f7, threatening mate on g8.
Yes.
How do we prevent that? Well, the only way to prevent it really is to play queen to the 8th rank and then move the bishop to g7. But then, okay, you have to put the queen on c8 so that you're protecting the d7 knight. Fortunately, we can't move pieces on this board, but queen c8, queen f7. You have to play this bishop to g7 to protect the back rank, but then there's knight takes d6, and everything is falling apart. Everything is falling apart.
Was it not some song?
Everything is falling apart. Is that a song?
From a song.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I think it's a safe bet. So, all the games have finished in the Masters. Gretarsson and Gretarsson, well, they played 51 moves without capturing a piece or moving a pawn. That's the so-called 50 move rule, so white could claim a draw. 127 moves. So I think I'm correct when I say that Hjörvar is the only one to play 2 games over 100 moves. I'm just going to go back to the 3rd round, where he actually played 101 moves against Einar Hjalti. So 101 moves and 127 moves. That's, yeah, quite significant, and not quite rare, I think, that to see in the same tournament. Na 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 na. Here we have a quote from Benedikt Jónasson. Exciting between Helgi and Hjörvar, and that's the so-called sarcasm. It was not exciting at all. At all. So, what am I doing here? I don't know. Yeah, I'm talking to myself. Rook d7, the position we still have off on the board. David is still thinking. Very important game for him. If he can win, he catches up with Magnus Magnus. Magnus Tateson. Possibly the second best Magnus in the world. Possibly. Okay, no. Okay, if anybody knows, tell me. I think there's like a Magnus Karlhammer or something from Sweden or Norway, who is an IM, I think. Oh, there's Magnus Örn, of course, Icelandic. So that's 3. And I think Magnus Tateson is higher than Magnus Palmi. So, okay. That's, my prediction is the 5th best Magnus in the world. But I don't know. I think that's an educated guess. Either way, do we have a move by David? No, he's down to 6 minutes against 9:30. Don't have anything special to do here, so let's just finish this. Just gonna real quick turn off the sound. Less than a minute, I promise. Still thinking, down to 5 minutes. What was... Is it game over? Couldn't see it. At least it's Queen F7.
You should have played Queen D7.
You didn't?
No, we didn't. It took on D7. It's still winning, but...
But the other one's so obvious. Queen
Yeah.
F7, you have to move the bishop, you tap the back rank, you take on D6, everything's falling apart. Okay. Fair enough, but yeah, but yeah, Sifuson, he's
okay, yeah, he found another way.
okay, he's still winning. Yeah. But he's down what
He's winning at
one point in the tournament, or
Yeah.
so it's half a point behind. Okay,
He lost.
I was against Magnus.
Yeah.
I was debating with myself if first I thought he might be the second best Magnus in the world, but then I realized there's Magnus Örn also.
Oh yes. He can play.
And I think there's a Magnus Karlhammer or something from either Norway or Sweden. So my prediction, my educated guess, is the 5th best Magnus in the world.
Yeah. But I am definitely the best Kjartan.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, damn it.
Yes, that's probably correct.
Yeah, I think so.
Kjartan. But there's actually, you know, Kjartan, is it derived from Mýrkjartan or something?
Yeah.
Doesn't that have some meaning in another name?
Well, yeah, that could be McCartney.
McCartney. Okay.
Yeah.
McCartney. I still don't think there's a McCartney higher than you.
Never heard of him, at least.
So you might be safe. I however have a problem because the Russian name or Slavic name Igor is derived from Ingvar, which could be a problem.
Huge problem.
Actually, yeah, there's a friend of mine called John Naylor in England, and I allow him to call me Igor
Oh, okay.
because he can't pronounce Ingvar. Nobody can.
Yeah.
Ingvar.
You should
Yeah.
have them try Kjartan.
Luke McShane's father was my favorite. He was always Ingvar. But
He's probably watching. No.
John is watching. I'm not sure about Luke's father, but Luke, I'm your father.
You had to say
Yeah, I'd say it. But
Leave it alone.
but John might be watching, and he called me Igor, and that's quite fine because it's almost sounds like Ingvar, and it's derived from my name. So that was. We have to go off on a tangent. We can't. We're chess players. We have attention deficit disorder, so we have to do something. Knight b4. The computer doesn't like this. Okay, we're threatening knight d3, but yeah, maybe rook. Yeah, okay, actually, this might be a practical chance. But I'm still convinced that knight takes g2 earlier was winning. What's confusing to me is that the computer did not have it as one of its top moves. Rook a1. It said knight d3, rook b3, rook b4, knight d5. So I'm wondering if maybe it just calculated so... because it has minus 1.16 and the pawn ending you're up a pawn, maybe it's like, okay, I'm up a pawn, it's minus 1, so it wants to keep pieces on. Because its depth is 14 ply, so it only calculated 7 moves ahead. So if we go back once again, so 14 ply, 7 moves, that's 1 move, 2 moves, 3 moves, no, the other one, 2 moves, 3 moves, 4 moves. Well, it should see that this is winning though, so I really want to stick this in a computer actually. But I can't really turn an engine on the computer that I'm broadcasting on because it will affect the broadcasting, so I'll have to wait until after it for my report. So we have knight b4, 7 minutes for Magnus, 2 minutes for David. I guess we'll wait around for this one to finish. Since we have to be up anyway to watch Miami, Indiana, I guess.
Of course.
Of course.
Knight e3 was the
Yeah.
move. It's nice.
Knight b4, knight e3. Okay, let's say king.
King f2, probably. King e2 is nice.
I'm not sure which one's better. King e2. No, king e2. There's rook check, and then there's only bishop d2, and then there's knight c4, winning the piece.
Yeah.
So king f2. So we have to have the g1 square available.
Yeah. Then it's knight f5.
Knight f5.
The idea is to go to g3 and play
And mate. Okay, so like rook f7.
Just checkmate.
Maybe e3 immediately. Yeah, probably e3 immediately. Because if the king goes to e2 or f3, there's knight d4 check. Then we take on. Well, hang on a minute. Hang on. So king f3. Yeah, okay. Yeah, either way. Jack, he goes here. We takes. e2 is winning because there's. No, it's not winning. Hang on a minute. There's king d3, so. Not winning yet. What the hell is going on here? Yeah, but there's. 96, yeah, what's wrong? 96 attacks the rook and then still attacks the bishop. Like this. King somewhere, 96.
Yeah.
And then we take the bishop. Cross my horse. But if we go to f1 and knight g3, just mate.
Yes.
And rook h1.
Yeah. But
So knight f5 was a really interesting try. Yeah, rook f1 f2 was also an idea, that's correct, but I don't think it's winning. Lose the f pawn. If we're talking about the same position. So this is Magnus.
now you have to find rook e7 according to the engine. Otherwise he's lost.
After what? Knight b4?
No, in the current position.
Okay, so knight b4 was the 57th move. Rook e7. David played king d5,
Indeed.
rook d7 check, king back to c6, rook back to e7. Yeah, that's the current position. So maybe repeating just to gain time and then push e3.
No, he must play e3. Otherwise, the pawn is lost. No, d5.
Oh, so actually instead of checking, why could it gone rook b7?
No,
Let's go back.
no,
Is this correct?
no.
Knight b4, yes. Knight
Yes.
b4.
Oh my God, he could.
So
Of
knight
course.
before rook b7,
Rook
king
b7.
d5, he could play rook b7,
Of course.
which would have turned the game maybe on its head because king here. There's rook takes b4, rook takes b6, king takes. And the king is outside the goddamn circle, square, the square of the pawn. So the only chance is to shelter our own pawn, but we just play king e2.
Wow.
Oh, hang on a minute, but now we're in the square. Now we're in the square.
In the square.
It's not clear actually, king c3, it's maybe a draw.
Yes.
Yeah. So we take on b4. We don't have to take immediately though, we can play h4 first. Start with h4. Start with h4, e3. And now we take rook takes b4. Rook takes, bishop takes, king takes, h5, king c3. Now we're too late, king e2. That's nothing. So losing by force then. Rook b7. Wow. But he was, but that's also psychological. Just like the situation we talked about with the young player before.
Yeah.
That he's been defending for so long that
Yeah.
even the idea of shifting to playing for a win is just so hard to adjust to. So, okay, David manages to avoid it here with e3, king e2. So now black might still have some chances to win with the passed pawns. I'm really curious about this position with knight takes g2 though. I have an idea. That game, so. Game.vgn. I have to look this up. So king e2 is the last move.
Yeah.
Database, home, open. Database. Open. Games.
Times.
Games? Like the way Andrew Martin says games. Games? It's a good game.
Oh.
Okay, where is it? Okay, 95. Why not? Knight takes g2.
I see too.
Hang on a minute.
What kind of a move is that?
Hang on a minute. Also like the way Samuel Williams says DVDs. Die by dies!
Yeah.
I have to buy this die by die!
Yeah. I actually have one.
I have more than one. So why can't we take on g2? King takes g2. e3. Rook a6, king e5, king f3 takes that too. Okay, king f3 maybe. We have to take with the pawn. Maybe white can defend this, okay. Okay, I was just looking off screen at knight takes d2. Yeah, there was one idea, maybe if e3, can always give checks, but you can also maybe go here, king f3. And the pawn takes f2, and then maybe you can try to defend. Maybe this is hard to win. It's not easy to improve the black pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, this is 7 pieces, so I can't look it up. But okay, this might be an explanation as to why he didn't take in g2. So do we have moves? Yes, we do.
We have bishop c3.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait.
Rook e7, king d5, king 61, king e2. Knight to c2, which seems to... Well, the computer doesn't like it, but...
No, bishop c3 and starting to look like a draw.
Starting to look like a draw. Yeah, bishop c3, of course, to prevent d4 check. So is David running out of tricks? Bishop c3, rook g1. We can always play rook g7, I guess. And the back of tricks. He's starting to run out. Ah. Chess expert. Wonderful tools. So, White can push for a win now? No. Hardly. But there's always a chance. I mean, White has the bishop and an h-pawn, so if you can start to push the h-pawn, then the bishop might support it, so it's not out of the question. And also there was this rook b7 opportunity earlier, so you never know. You never know, you know. So this actually happened, bishop c3, g1.
You never know, you know.
You never know, you know. And markmaður. And that's why I thought rook g7 here was, yeah.
Wow.
So I guess Sig Fusion already won, yeah. Rook g7 was played. If Magnus can hold on here, that would be quite an important result for him.
Yeah.
He's down to 2 minutes. David is playing on the 30-second increment, king d5. And he has more or less faced everybody. He played against Lenka, beat Lenka, he beat Sigurd Daði, now he played David. So who's left?
Oliver?
Is he coming? He was playing not on top 5 boards,
Yeah,
but
he was on the 6th.
yeah, maybe there were a lot of players with similar points. So did he play Christian Hermansson already? Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
So 2 rounds left. So yeah, Gylfi will go down.
Christian lost. to lost.
Yeah, of the axe, yeah. It's actually correct.
What the hell?
So we have, oh,
He
minus
just
6.
blundered.
Minus 6.
Oh my god.
King d5. Oh, look at
Blundered. Oh my god!
Oh my god! What do we have here? Rook d5. Rook g5 check, which looks... Which the computer just melts over this move. King c4 attacking the bishop.
He's done.
Why is this so bad?
I don't know.
Because the bishop can't.
Yeah.
Oh, it can't.
yeah.
He has to keep an eye on the mate here. We go to a5. There's knight d4 mate. If you go off the e1 8 for diagonal, there's rook e1 mate.
94 is mate if he leaves diagonal.
So you. That's not mate. What's wrong with him?
Oh, it isn't?
King f3.
No.
No, I mean if he goes. Okay, I said bishop a5 94 mate. Bishop b2.
Yeah. Bishop e5 play.
Okay, bishop b5. It's the same move essentially. Essentially.
He's just queening the pawn.
Yeah, this rook e1 and e2. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's not mate. This rook e1 now. King f3 e2.
No, he will check again on f1.
Yeah, check on f1. Yeah, now we can go to e2 because rook f2.
Yeah.
And then there's e2 check and mate actually. So wow. That's it.
Yeah.
Rook f1. So let's actually leave this. Not this one, this one. I'm just gonna see the result. Not this one. It's this one.
We must discuss.
Yeah.
Have a look.
Me too. So yeah, Rook F1 he re-signed for Real Madrid.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the final position. I mean, if the king goes up, then e2 and he can't do anything. King back here, Rook F2, e2 and mid. So quite a turnaround in this game. We mentioned earlier that White could actually have swung it around here after King d5, which was a blunder with Rook b7. And here Black must play on down a piece because going with King c4 allows h4, and then we just take on b4. Rook takes e1 might be the best practical chance actually. But if e3 we take on b4 and we win the pawn. So yeah, but he was stuck in defense, like he said so himself, and that's what we thought. So yeah, with a hint of luck, Davíð Kjartansson pulls level with Magnus Teitsson in the challengers. Let's actually have a look at the standings and the Masters. The Masters. Since the Masters section. Yes. Oops. Oh, did I move that around? What did I do? Ah, yeah. Oops. Maybe it's full screen. That's better. So I guess we can refresh it now, and we should have Gummi on top with 5.5. That's indeed the case. Gummi Kjartans 5.5. +4. A great result thus far. He still has to play Hannes Stefansson. That's tomorrow, but he has the white pieces. And then he'll play Hjörvar Gretarsson in the last round, but then with the black pieces. So the group of Steingrímsson, Danielsen and Stefansson are looking quite forward to Gummi Kjartans slipping up, but if he doesn't, then it's his tournament to lose. And well, a victory tomorrow would go a long way towards securing the win. In the candidates, can you see the standings? Okay, this. Oh yes, of course. Now Sigurður Sigfússon is leading. Sigurður Sigfússon is leading with 6 out of 7. He only lost to Magnus.
Okay.
And Magnus. What a name.
What a name.
Yeah, so he's leading with 6 points. He's rated 2290. And the rating favorite before the tournament, Davíð Kjartansson, 2342. He is level with Magnus Teitsson and Lenka Patačníková. And seems like they already paired the 8th round in the candidates. So let's have a look at that while we're at it. There we're going to have Lenka against Sigurður Daði, Lenka with white. Loftur against Davíð Kjartansson. And Magnus Teitsson against the young Vignir Vatnar. Interesting matchup. And then we have Björn Hall Birgisson and Oliver Jónesson. But with only 2 rounds remaining, I think only Lenka, well, one of the top 4 can actually win this tournament. Others not looking good. Lenka, of course, leading the women's championship with 5.5. But on 4.5 we have Elsa and Hallkellur. If they manage to catch up, I think, I don't know if they play a match or if it's gonna be Buchholz, but with Lenka having
I
been,
think it will be a match.
yeah. So the title will be a match for the championship. Aha. So yeah, that wraps up the 7th round. Still all to play for. Looking good for Gummi Kartans, but still things can take a turn. And well, we'll have to just wait and see over the weekend what happens. It's really exciting. I can't wait for it, man. Bring it on. See you.